Matt started noticing a change in his wife, Lavra. She seemed distant, like a stranger in their own home. Whenever he tried to talk to her, she'd find an excuse to be busy. Conversations that once flowed easily were now cut short with clipped one-word answers. Then came the late nights. "Just swamped at work," she'd say, brushing off his concern. But her explanations felt thin, and a knot of unease began to tighten in Matt's stomach. He knew, deep down, that something was seriously wrong. One afternoon, while doing laundry, something shiny caught his eye on the floor of their bedroom. It was a small, delicate earring, one he'd never seen before. It definitely wasn't Laura's style. His heart hammered against his ribs. He picked it up, the cold metal feeling heavy in his palm. 100 different scenarios raced through his mind, each one more painful than the last. He decided to keep it to himself, tucking the earring away in a drawer, hoping against hope that it was just a simple, innocent mistake. But the tension in the house was undeniable. It hung in the air like a thick fog, and even their children started to feel it. "Where's Mommy?" they would ask, their little faces filled with confusion. Matt struggled to find the right words, his heart breaking for them. He had to know the truth. Trusting his gut, he installed a few security cameras around the house, telling Lavra it was for their family's safety. Her reaction was strange. She barely acknowledged them, her indifference more unsettling than any argument could have been. This apathetic response was the final push Matt needed. He picked up the phone and contacted a private investigator. The investigator was efficient and professional, getting to work immediately. Within a few days, the call came. The pie had uncovered the truth, and it was devastating. Lavra was seeing another man. His name was Scott. The words hit Matt like a physical blow, knocking the air from his lungs. He felt a profound sense of betrayal, a fool for ever believing her lies. Trying to keep himself together for the sake of his children, he pushed his own emotions down, plastering on a brave face, but his world was tilting on its axis. Then things took an even stranger turn. Scott, the man from the investigator's report, started showing up in their social circles. He'd appear at neighborhood gatherings, acting overly friendly, clapping Matt on the back like they were old pals. The sheer audacity of it made Matt's skin crawl. He knew this man was sleeping with his wife, yet here he was, smiling in his face. The security camera footage confirmed everything. Matt sat in the dark, watching the screen in disbelief as he saw Lavra and Scott together. He saw the embraces, the stolen kisses right in his own home. A wave of white-hot anger washed over him, followed by a tidal wave of sadness. His marriage was a lie. His life was a lie. Just when he thought things couldn't get worse, one of Laura's friends reached out to him. She confessed she couldn't stay silent any longer. She told Matt everything. Lavra had been bragging to her friends about the affair, about how exciting it was. But that wasn't all. The friend also mentioned hidden bank transfers, large sums of money being moved to an account Matt knew nothing about. The horrifying reality crashed down on him. This wasn't just a fling. Lavra was planning to leave him. She was systematically draining their finances, preparing to take half of everything they had built together and run off with Scott. Without a moment's hesitation, Matt contacted a lawyer. His attorney listened to the whole sordid story and advised him to act quickly. Following the lawyer's guidance, Matt worked to secure their joint finances, protecting what was left for him and his children. When Lavra discovered what he had done, her reaction was explosive. She confronted him, her voice dripping with venom. The calm, distant woman was gone, replaced by a furious stranger. She finally admitted to the affair, not with remorse, but with a defiant glare. During their heated argument, Matt laid out the evidence he had collected: the investigator's report, the financial records, the camera footage. Her face went pale. She had no defense, no lies left to tell. The truth was out, and it spread through their tight-knit neighborhood like wildfire. Friends and neighbors who had known them for years saw Lavra for who she really was. The gossip was relentless, and for the first time, Lavra seemed to feel a sliver of the shame Matt had been carrying. The pressure began to crack the foundation of her new relationship. It turned out Scott wasn't the perfect man she had imagined. He had his own financial problems and a reckless history she hadn't bothered to look into. With their secret now exposed and the money supply cut off, the excitement of the affair faded. Arguments between Lavra and Scott became frequent and bitter. Her perfect escape plan was falling apart. Throughout all of this, Matt's sole focus was on protecting his daughters. He remained the calm, stable parent they desperately needed. But Lavra, cornered and increasingly desperate, made a reckless and unforgivable choice. One afternoon, Matt came home to an empty house. A cold, brief note was left on the kitchen counter. She had taken the children without his permission. Pure panic seized him. He immediately called his lawyer, who began preparing emergency court filings. He managed to get a call through to his girls. They sounded terrified. They whispered that Scott had been yelling, that they were scared. Matt's heart shattered. He told them he loved them, to be brave, and that he was coming for them. Fueled by a father's protective rage, he gathered every single piece of evidence. He had every photo, every bank statement, every text message. The court moved quickly on the emergency motion. In the courtroom, Lavra tried to twist the narrative, painting Matt as the villain. But her accusations were flimsy and fell apart under scrutiny. When Matt's lawyer presented the mountain of undeniable evidence, a hush fell over the room. The judge was visibly shocked by Laura's deceit and reckless behavior. In a firm and decisive ruling, he granted Matt primary custody of the children. Lavra was only allowed supervised visits. She broke down, her sobs echoing in the silent courtroom, but it was too late. Matt walked out of the courthouse feeling an immense sense of relief. He had protected his girls. Not long after the ruling, Scott disappeared from the picture, wanting no part of Laura's complicated and now costly life. Her grand plan had completely crumbled. She offered a weak, half-hearted apology, but Matt remained firm. He took his daughters home, back to the safety of their rooms and their routines. Slowly but surely, they began to rebuild. Matt reassured them every day that they were loved and safe. The laughter and peace that had been stolen from their home finally started to return. The divorce was finalized quietly a few months later. Matt didn't look back. His focus was on the future, on healing, and on being the best father he could be for his two wonderful girls. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe for more.